हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू स्टेनो आर्मी। आई होप आप अपनी तैयारी जो है वो बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे होगे। आप लोगों का CSIR का एग्जाम जो है वो अभी चल रहा है। उसके अंदर स्किल टेस्ट के अंदर जो डिक्टेशंस आपको आने वाले हैं एग्जाम के अंदर, जिस टाइप के डिक्टेशन आपको देखने को मिल सकते हैं उस टाइप के डिक्टेशन मैं आज आपको लिखवाने वाला हूँ। बेसिकली क्या है कि एक ही वीडियो के अंदर मैं आपको 3 डिक्टेशंस लिखवाने वाला हूँ जो कि एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है। मैंने इसके अंदर 3 अलग अलग टाइप के डिक्टेशंस डाले हैं, जिसका लेवल भी तीनों का अलग अलग रखने की कोशिश करी है और तीनों का टाइप भी अलग अलग रखने की कोशिश करी है। तो आप स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हो, ये आपकी PDF है। इसके अंदर मैंने 3 टॉपिक्स लिए हैं। एक तो फर्स्ट है हमारा डिबेट और स्पीच। तो बहुत सारे लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि इस टाइप का एग्जाम के अंदर जो मैटर है वो नहीं आता है, पर मैंने इसको इंक्लूड किया है। ये आपका कैलाश चंद्रा की मैगजीन में से नहीं है, ना प्रोग्रेसिव में से है। मैंने इसको इंटरनेट पे से निकाला है। इसका टाइटल है विनिंग इलेक्शंस बाय पावर ऑफ मनी। ठीक है। दूसरा अपन ने लिया है एडिटोरियल मैटर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के ऊपर, और तीसरा मैटर है ऐसे मैटर, ये आप मिक्सअप मैटर भी बोल सकते हो, जनरेशन गैप के ऊपर ये मैटर हमने लिया है। इसके अंदर तीनों में ही 800 के आसपास वर्ड्स हैं और इनका लेवल मैंने यहाँ पे लिख रखा है बेस्ड ऑन कि ये जो डिक्टेशन है मैंने ऑलरेडी लिखवा दिए हमारी वेबसाइट पर। तो उनमें जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स ने ट्रांसक्राइब किया, उनकी जैसी मिस्टेक्स आई, जैसा रिव्यू आया, उसके बेसिस पर मैंने इनका जो लेवल है यहाँ पे लिख दिया है। तो चलिए अभी हम ये तीनों डिक्टेशंस लिखने वाले हैं, एक एक करके मैं लिखवाऊंगा। इसकी स्पीड जो रहेगी वो 80 से 90 के बीच में रहेगी। मैंने यहाँ पर, जैसे ये फर्स्ट डिक्टेशन है तो यहाँ पे 80 पे मार्किंग है, फिर 85 पे मार्किंग है, फिर 90 पे है। तो ये फ्लक्चुएशंस मैं अपने हिसाब से इसमें देख करके करता रहूंगा, तो आपको पता नहीं चलेगा, पर ये फ्लक्चुएशंस के साथ हम डिक्टेशंस लिखने वाले हैं। अब अगर आपकी स्पीड 90 पे नहीं है तो आपको पता चल ही जाएगा कि जो स्पीड है वो इंक्रीज हुई है। पर अगर आप 100 WPM पे आराम से लिख पा रहे हो तो आप ये वाला डिक्टेशंस, तीनों ही डिक्टेशंस आप आसानी से लिख सकोगे अगर आप रेगुलरली प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो तो चलो अपन फर्स्ट डिक्टेशन लिखते हैं। 80 की स्पीड रहेगी, 811 इसमें वर्ड्स हैं। चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। इसके अंदर मैं आपको ये भी डाल दूंगा कि ये फर्स्ट डिक्टेशन का टाइम स्टैम्प है, सेकंड का है, थर्ड का है। आप डायरेक्टली उस पर जा सकते हो। अगर आपको ये वाला नहीं लिखना है तो डायरेक्टली आप ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लिखो, और अगर वो भी नहीं लिखना है तो डायरेक्टली जनरेशन गैप लिखो। पर ये तीनों डिक्टेशन एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसलिए मैंने इंक्लूड करे हैं। आप इसकी PDF भी डाउनलोड कर सकते हो। मैं लास्ट में आपको ये PDF का लिंक जो है वो शेयर कर दूंगा। चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। 80 की स्पीड रहेगी। गेट रेडी, 3, 2, 1 स्टार्ट। मिस्टर चेयरमैन, दिस इज अ बिल टू बी सेंट फॉर eliciting public opinion on a matter which concerns not only the political parties but the public life of the country as a whole. My approach in this matter, subject to public discussion and conclusions arising out of it, is somewhat different from what has been said by the 2 previous speakers. Right at the beginning, I should like to make it clear that I am in favor of cheap elections. I want to rule out money as far as possible from the context of the processes of our parliamentary institutions and democracy, because money undoubtedly has a corrupting influence. I wonder what would happen if these restraints were to be revoked. Would that lead to honesty and elimination of big money in election affairs? I do not think it would be the contention that by abolishing these restraints we are going to have cheap elections or some kind of curb on election expenditure. I think what he wants is to make people look somewhat honest, or rather, he does not want dishonesty to be institutionalized in the shape of some kind of acceptance of it by the society. His approach in this matter essentially is somewhat moral, but it suffers from illusions. Para. Now let me come to the other aspects of the matter, but I should like to add here that if the object is one of promoting cheap elections, eliminating the power of money in elections, it is not achieved by removing the restraints here. You may have the consolation that some people who are naturally dishonest are asked not to behave dishonestly by dishonesty. In this case, the law of money and dishonesty, therefore, is naturally the order to influence the voters. You are having huge sums and are suppressing it. This by itself is not a minimum crime. It is not as if the crime arises only when people submit returns to the commission after the election is over. The moment the election takes place, the moment you spend power of money for elections, you are committing a crime which is contrary to all democratic practices. It is there you are committing an authority. He wants not merely to abolish the crime, he wants there not to be any accountability about it in any way. Para. Now, the main problem that we are facing in our democratic institutions or elections, if you like, is the influence and privilege of money. I should like it to be curbed, if not wholly eliminated. I am a realist in this matter. As long as the capitalist classes remain, as long as the wealthy remain, as long as the haves and the have-nots divide the society, money will have its part to play. It cannot be completely eliminated because the present society in which we are living is largely influenced and dominated not only in electoral matters but in various other matters also by the power of money. Therefore, I have no illusion that by changing certain laws of this kind, we will be getting out of the clutches of the big money in this matter. Now that power will remain. Para. All that we can do now by legislation and otherwise by practices, conventions, etc., is to reduce the power of money, that impact of money. This is the most we can achieve. Now I ask, can we achieve this thing by accepting the suggestion that he has made? I do not think so. When the election law was framed, it was perhaps intended that some kind of a restraint would be put if the election expenses were to be submitted to the Election Commission after the elections. That was with the intention, but this objective has not been fulfilled. Why it has not been fulfilled, we know ourselves. If we are not honest about our political sense that some people are honest and some people are dishonest, that would be an answer given by some people who are not conversant with the political affairs of the country, the realities of political life. Para. This objective has not been fulfilled because, in the first place, while India is a democratic country, we are in the control of our state, of our economic life, and so on, and things have to go on with some kind of funds and means to raise those funds, either by big money, as the elections cannot be won by spending a few rupees here and there, as long as you have big constituencies or whatever way you may have. How to do so, it is a big question, and how they get elected is a big thing. Why have leaders who have been elected been spending anything now to spend so much money? In that Congress case, because Congress has been in the field for a long time. Stop. ठीक है, ये हमारा फर्स्ट डिबेट और स्पीच टाइप का डिबेट ही मान लो, ये इजी टू मॉडरेट है. ठीक है, मोस्टली जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स ने इसको ट्रांसक्राइब किया उनके 90 अबव एक्यूरेसी आई है, तो इजी टू मॉडरेट सबको लगा है. अब हम सेकंड डिक्टेशन लिखेंगे. ये थोड़ा सा हार्ड आपको लगेगा, और इसलिए भी लगेगा क्योंकि इस टाइप के डिक्टेशन जो है वो रेगुलर बेसिस पे हम नहीं लिखते हैं, जो कि है एडिटोरियल ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के ऊपर. पर ये इंपॉर्टेंट मैटर है, आप लोगों को पता भी है क्यों है, पर इसको आप अच्छे से 3-4 बार लिख लोगे तो बहुत सही रहेगा. इसको हम शुरू करते हैं. इसमें भी मैं यही रखूंगा. अभी जो हमने डिक्टेशन लिखा है यहाँ पे जैसे आपको दिख रहा है 80-85, तो मैंने उसी जो स्पीड है उस पर रखा है. मतलब स्टार्टिंग में 80 थी, फिर 85 पे बोला मैंने, फिर 90 पे बोला, तो आपको ये एक तरह से 80 से 90 के बीच की फ्लक्चुएशंस के साथ ही पूरा डिक्टेशन हमने खत्म करा है. चलिए अब हम सेकंड डिक्टेशन लिखते हैं ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के ऊपर. इसमें 795 वर्ड्स हैं, इसको भी मैंने लिखवा रखा है. इसको हम शुरू करते हैं. इसमें भी मैं फुल स्टॉप नहीं बोलूंगा क्योंकि आपके एग्जाम में फुल स्टॉप नहीं बोले जाते और कॉमा भी नहीं बोले जाते, आपको खुद से ही लगाने होते हैं. हाँ, ऑब्वियसली कॉमा की मिस्टेक जो है वो नहीं होगी, पर फुल स्टॉप की मिस्टेक आपकी एग्जाम में कटेगी, तो आपको खुद से लगाना है. जब भी मैं थोड़ा सा पॉज लेता हूँ उसको आपको फुल स्टॉप समझना है. चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं इसको भी. गेट रेडी, 3, 2, 1 स्टार्ट. On 7th May 2025, the Indian Army carried out Operation Sindoor. This operation was a reply to the deadly terror attack that happened on 22nd April 2025 in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. In that attack, 26 innocent people lost their lives. The attack was done by terrorist groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. These groups aimed to disturb peace and hurt the tourism industry in Kashmir. The name Sindoor was chosen for the operation to honor the women who lost their husbands in the attack. It showed the country's deep pain and firm decision to act against terrorism. India wanted to destroy the terrorist camps in Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but without starting a full war. The Indian Air Force carried out the attack at midnight on 7th May. They targeted 9 terrorist camps across the border. These places were being used to plan and carry out attacks against India. The air strikes were well planned and used modern weapons. According to reports, more than 100 terrorists were killed, including some important leaders of these terror groups. The Indian Army made sure there was little or no damage to normal people or places. One big highlight of this operation was the use of Indian technology. The army used the D4 anti-drone system, which was made by Bharat Electronics Limited. It helped stop enemy drones from entering Indian airspace. The other defense system also helped the army by giving real-time information and support during the mission. These systems show that India is ready with modern tools to protect itself. After the strikes, Pakistan claimed that Indian aircraft were shot down and that civilians had died. But India clearly said that only terrorist camps were hit and no harm was done to civilians. In response, Pakistan closed its airspace to Indian planes and also stopped trade between the two countries. This increased tension between the two nations. In India, people supported Operation Sindoor. Citizens felt proud of the army. Many leaders praised the action. However, some political issues also came up. A member of the Congress party said that the operation was a drama and blamed the government. This created anger and other parties demanded action against him. The S-400 missile defense system played an important role during Operation Sindoor. This system gave India a powerful shield in the sky. It helped protect Indian airspace from any possible enemy aircraft or missile attacks during the operation. The S-400 system is one of the most advanced air defense systems in the world, and its use in Operation Sindoor showed how serious and prepared India was during the mission. The S-400 system was developed by Russia and is also used by countries like China and Turkey. India signed a deal with Russia to buy 5 units of the S-400 system in 2018. By 2024, India had deployed these systems at important locations to protect its borders. During Operation Sindoor, the Indian Army and Air Force used the S-400 system to guard against any sudden counter attacks from across the border. Para. The system can detect and shoot down enemy aircraft, drones, and missiles from a distance of up to 400 kilometers. It can track 80 targets at the same time and hit multiple targets with great accuracy. It uses different types of missiles depending on the range and type of threat. This made it a perfect choice to protect Indian skies while the Air Force was busy carrying out strikes in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. During Operation Sindoor, the system was put on high alert mode. It was placed in forward locations to monitor the air movements near the border. There were chances that Pakistan might launch fighter jets or drones to either attack India or try to stop Indian planes. But with the S-400 in place, Indian forces felt confident and safe. Any attempt by the enemy to enter Indian airspace would have been stopped immediately. Para. Though no direct air battle happened during Operation Sindoor, the presence of the S-400 made sure that Pakistan did not try to respond with its air force. Defense experts believe that the powerful coverage of the S-400 was one of the reasons why the enemy remained quiet in the sky. The system acted as a strong deterrent, meaning it stopped the enemy from attacking just by being there. The S-400 was also connected with other defense systems like the Akash Tir air defense network and the D4 anti-drone system. Together, they created a full and smart defense circle for India. This network gave real-time updates to army officers and helped them make fast decisions. The coordination between the Indian Army, Air Force, and these advanced systems showed that India is now ready for modern warfare. Stop. ठीक है, ये हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लिखा है। इसके ऊपर कोशिश मेरी ये रही है कि मैंने हर चीज इंक्लूड कर ली है, जिससे कि इस मैटर पे कुछ भी आए तो कहीं ना कहीं आपने वो लिखा हुआ रहे, है ना। जैसे जैश मोहम्मद, लश्कर तैयबा, ये वाले जो वर्ड्स हैं वो हिंदी के वर्ड्स आपको देखने को मिल सकते हैं, तो इनकी आप प्रिपरेशन करके रखो। ठीक है, S-400 हो गया, D4 एंटी ड्रोन सिस्टम हो गया, तो ये इंडियन एयरफोर्स हो गया। तो ये सारे जितने भी वर्ड्स हैं वो ओवरऑल कवर अप करने की मैंने इस डिक्टेशन में कोशिश करी है, तो ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। ठीक है, इसमें भी हमारी स्पीड 80 से 90 के बीच में ही रही है। अब आप इसको लिखिए। अब हम लास्ट डिक्टेशन लिख रहे हैं, जनरेशन गैप। ये वाला थोड़ा सा आपको डिफिकल्ट जो है, मॉडरेट लेवल का है ये वाला डिक्टेशन। उसके ऊपर ये वाला जो अभी ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लिखा वो मॉडरेट टू हार्ड था, और सबसे फर्स्ट वाला इजी टू मॉडरेट था। तो अब ये वाला मॉडरेट है, तो मेरे हिसाब से आप इसको लिख पाओगे। बस इन डिक्टेशंस में होता कुछ भी नहीं है, बस इतना सा डिफरेंस है कि आप इसमें जॉइनिंग्स नहीं बना सकते। बाकी डिक्टेशन तो उसमें वर्ड्स इंग्लिश के ही होते हैं, बस जॉइनिंग्स नहीं होती है, बाकी और कोई डिफरेंस नहीं होता है। जैसे कि आप डिबेट में लिखते हो तो उसमें 4, 5, 6 वर्ड एक साथ बन जाते हैं, तो जॉइनिंग बन जाती है, तो आपका बहुत सारा टाइम उसमें सेव हो जाता है, तो आप इजीली वो डिक्टेशन पूरा लिख पाते हो। इनके अंदर ज्वाइनिंग बिल्कुल भी नहीं होती। अभी ऑपरेशन सिंदूर वाले में 1 या 2 ज्वाइनिंग थी, जैसे एट द सेम टाइम, ये एक साथ बना सकते हो, बाकी उसके अलावा कोई भी वर्ड ऐसा नहीं था जिसको आप साथ में बना सको। तो ज्वाइनिंग नहीं होने की वजह से एक एक वर्ड आपको अलग अलग बनाना पड़ता है, उसकी वजह से थोड़ी स्पीड जो है वो कम हो जाती है और आपको उसमें वर्ड छूटने के चांसेस हो जाते हैं। बस वही चीज उस डिक्टेशन को हार्ड या फिर डिफिकल्ट जो है वो बनाती है। अब जनरेशन गैप वाला जो मैटर हम लिख रहे हैं, इसमें भी यही है कि इसके अंदर भी ज्वाइनिंग आपको बहुत कम देखने को मिलेगी। चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं। इसमें 809 वर्ड्स हैं। चलो शुरू करते हैं। गेट रेडी, 3, 2, 1, स्टार्ट। Generation gap refers to the noticeable differences in beliefs, opinions, and lifestyles between people of different age groups, particularly between the young and the old. This theory explains why parents and children or grandparents sometimes struggle to understand or relate to each other despite sharing the same home or cultural background. These differences do not arise only because of age but also due to the environment and experiences that shape each generation differently. In the past, the generation gap was not very wide as most people lived in joint families, followed similar customs, and respected traditional values without much questioning. Children usually accepted the decisions made by elders and did not challenge their authority. However, in today's world, where technology is advancing rapidly and cultures are blending, the gap has widened significantly. Para. Young people are growing up in a time where information is just a click away and freedom of thought is highly encouraged. As a result, they often think and speak differently from their elders, which leads to disagreements and misunderstandings. The generation gap theory highlights that such differences are natural and will always exist because each generation is shaped by the unique time period in which they are born and raised. For example, today's teenagers are deeply influenced by the internet, which allows them to explore various ideas and lifestyles. On the other hand, older generations grew up with limited technology and strong traditional beliefs, which often makes it difficult for them to accept modern ways easily. One common area of conflict between generations is communication. While older people usually prefer direct conversations, younger people are more comfortable using messaging apps. This change in the way people interact can create a sense of emotional distance where elders may feel ignored and the younger ones may feel they are being misunderstood or judged. Para. Career choices also reflect the generation gap as parents often expect their children to pursue traditional and stable jobs. Many young people today are more inclined towards creative professions which may seem risky or unfamiliar to their parents and elders. Despite these differences, the generation gap can be managed and even reduced through mutual respect and understanding. Elders can try to be more flexible and willing to learn about modern changes, while young people should take time to listen to their elders' experiences and respect their values. Family discussions and quality time together can help build strong bonds and reduce confusion or conflict. Para. When we talk about the generation gap, it is helpful to understand the different types of generations that exist today. Generations are usually grouped based on the years in which people were born and the major events or changes they experienced during their growing up years. Each generation has its own way of thinking and communicating, which is why people from different generations sometimes find it hard to relate to one another. One of the oldest known modern generations is the silent generation. These people were born between the 1920s and the early 1940s. They are not very comfortable with technology and usually prefer a calm and quiet way of living. Next came the baby boomers that were born between 1946 and 1964. This generation grew up after World War II during a time of growth and development. They were part of big social changes. They often find it difficult to understand the fast and flexible lifestyle of today's youth. After that came Generation X that were born roughly between 1965 and 1980. This group is often seen as independent and practical. Many people of this generation experienced the early rise of computers and technology. They value a balance between work and life and are often described as hardworking but also private and cautious. Para. Then came Generation Y that were born between 1981 and 1996. This generation grew up during the rise of the internet, mobile phones, and social media. They are often more open-minded and focused on personal happiness and growth. These are comfortable with change and often seek purpose in what they do. They are often criticized by older generations for changing jobs frequently, but they believe in following passion rather than staying stuck in one place. The next group is Generation Z, born roughly between 1997 and 2012. This is the first generation to grow up entirely in the digital age. They are used to smartphones and instant access to information. They are quick learners and are very aware of social issues such as climate change and equality. They value creativity and fast results. However, they may also face challenges like short attention spans and social pressure from being constantly online. Now, the newest generation is being called Generation Alpha, which includes children born from 2013 onwards. They are still very young, but it is clear they are growing up in a world full of artificial intelligence and digital education. Stop. ठीक है, ये हमारा जनरेशन गैप के ऊपर भी मैटर खत्म हो गया। तो इसके अंदर तीनों ही मैटर आप लिखिए, एक दिन में नहीं लिख सकते तो 2-3 दिन में लिखिए। इन तीनों दिन के अंदर इन मैटर्स को अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कर लो। इसी टाइप के मैटर्स आपको वहां पे देखने को मिलेंगे। मैंने इसीलिए तीनों ही टाइप ऑफ मैटर्स को कवर अप करने की कोशिश करी है, ठीक है। इसके अलावा वेबसाइट पे मैंने ये वाले डिक्टेशंस ऑलरेडी लिखवा रखे हैं, आप stenoarmy.com पर जा सकते हो। वेबसाइट का लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। यहाँ पर आपको CSIR का सेक्शन मिलेगा। यहाँ पर ये सारे डिक्टेशंस जो हैं वो मैं लिखवा चुका हूँ। डेली बेसिस पर मैं 2 डिक्टेशन इसमें ऐड कर रहा हूँ। जैसे आज 11 जून को ये मैं वीडियो बना रहा हूँ, तो इसके आज के 2 डिक्टेशन हमने डाल दिए हैं। तो इस टाइप से डेली 2-2 डिक्टेशन डलते रहते हैं और टोटल 28 डिक्टेशन डल गए और एग्जाम तक डलते रहेंगे। जब तक आपका एग्जाम नहीं होता तो इसके अंदर आपको डिक्टेशंस मिलते रहेंगे। इसके अलावा भी बाकी सारे डिक्टेशंस जो हैं वो आप लिख सकते हो। आप डायरेक्ट इसमें से नहीं भी लिखो तो भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। आप RSMSSB में से लिख सकते हो, NCERT डिक्टेशन, ऐसे डिक्टेशन, एडिटोरियल, जहां से भी आपको लिखना हो कोई से भी सेक्शन में से आप लिख सकते हो। चलो, ये वाला वीडियो अपन खत्म करते हैं। इसके अंदर ये सारे डिक्टेशंस मैंने आपको कंप्लीट करवा दिए। अब इसकी PDF कहाँ पे मिलेगी? आपको साइड में एक लिंक आ रहा है, डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी आ जाएगा, साइड में आपको लिंक मिल रहा है। डायरेक्टली आप इस लिंक पे क्लिक करोगे तो आप इस PDF पे पहुंच जाओगे। इसको डाउनलोड कर लो। आप अपनी ऑफलाइन क्लास में भी इस डिक्टेशन को डिक्टेट करके प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो। और इसके अलावा अगर आपकी जो वर्ड्स हैं वो डिक्टेशन लिखने के टाइम पे छूट जाते हैं तो आप इस वीडियो को देख सकते हो, इससे आपको काफी हेल्प मिलेगी। तब तक के लिए सभी को बेस्ट ऑफ